everyone. Welcome to the ReEvolve Media Revolution podcast, where we interview hip-hop artists from across Canada and gain the unique perspective of individuals who sometimes feel as instruments or conduits to a divine channel or energy. My name is Jordan Lewis. Today's episode features JUSTDAVE. The source of creation is a curious thing. I've heard it many times before and even felt it myself that throughout the process of creating anything, it can feel as though an energy flowing through you, but from an unknown source, is guiding the result. This can occur so much so that the creator feels a disassociation with their creations, but one that inspires curiosity rather than causes frustration. Maybe you've felt something similar before too. It's almost kind of an in-the-zone sensation, almost like you know exactly what to do as if you've done it 1,000 times before, even though the moment is unique. Now, I don't know about you, but stuff like this absolutely fascinates me, and I believe it's worth exploring and talking about within each individual. The reason being because no human being can have an identical experience, but we can try to explain a little bit better what it's like to exist as we come closer to the question that's plagued us since the dawn of mankind. Why? One thing is for certain, and that is that everything serves a purpose, and the moment we can get past the realization, maybe we can start to discover. And without further ado, JUSTDAVE. What is up, everybody? I am here with JUSTDAVE. JUSTDAVE, how you doing, brother?
I am doing well.
Doing well. So you're originally from Saskatoon, maybe not originally from Saskatoon. You were raised in Saskatoon.
Yeah, I was raised in Saskatoon, like nearby on a farm. I'm a farm kid, but like I know the streets of Saskatoon pretty well. I didn't get much of a chance growing up in the nearby town, Langham, although I did spend my school years there up until grade 10.
Okay. But then otherwise, for the most part of your life, you were there. Where were you there before that?
Before when?
Before your Saskatoon days.
Oh, well, I was in Langham on the farm for a long time.
That's literally kind of the area you were born then.
Yeah, that's like I was actually. If you wanted to get into where I'm born, that's a whole different subject. Where I was.
Quick touch and go.
Yeah, I was born in Bangladesh.
Oh, dude, what?
Yes, so my parents work for Mennonite Central Committee, or they were, and they were doing a 4-year stint on.
Yo, I lost you.
Maybe my screen's dimming. When did you lose me?
I lost you. You said they were doing a 4-year stint. You can just pick up from there.
Yeah, they were doing a 4-year stint on in Bangladesh, helping out with the volunteer work there. My dad has an agriculture degree, and my mom they were doing it together, and she has 4 degrees now too. But I don't know what point her education was at when she was there. But yeah, it was a quite a trip, and I was born when I was there. It's kind of it's quite defined and formed my life in a very interesting way. I don't really know how else to explain it. Like I could absorb this whole interview talking about it, but I don't really want to. But yeah, I'm interested if you want to ask specifics.
I want to touch on the way that it overlaps with the music, because I'm sure that it does influence at least a little bit.
Yeah, well, being born there has a significant effect on just my entire life path. Everything from cultural interests and interests. Just being. Well, I say I have turmeric in my blood because I was constantly having that growing up, that kind of food, Indian food, Bangladeshi food, and loving it, but not having any physical memories of Bangladesh itself because I was too young. So I have the scent memory. I have the scent memories and some of the other kind of memories.
How old were you when you came
visual
back?
memories.
Or how old were you when you left?
Two. I was like two-ish, like before and after, kind of. So,
but
and there was like
it influenced you when you were back or when you came here as well.
Well, I slowly got to learn how it influenced. Like I had, a lot of mental health struggles throughout my years, and I've gotten to a point where I've been able to handle that and been able to be an advocate for other people that have gone through that. And that's where it kind of full circles quickly to my music, because I write everything not only as a reflection to myself and an old self to tell them to go away and let go of what I need to let go, but also to anyone listening that it's a message to my younger self. As in, I can't actually go back and talk to my younger self, but I can be a voice to someone that's any age or in mental spirit younger, in a way that they haven't experienced whatever I've experienced that's gotten me to a point where I can do that for people. So if I can touch anyone's life in a way that it moves them to, you know, get up to a point where I'm at and I can help, then everyone's getting better. So that's all I'm trying to do with the music, is just bring everyone up and take my history and all my everything that's brought me to this point, and just really represent it all for mental health advocacy and stuff like that.
That's amazing, dude. And I want to, I guess we might touch on some of those subjects as we go through your musical history here, though. I can, as far as I can see back, you started releasing music around 2016. Is that so? You've released the Dave, or Dave, a 3-track EP.
Yeah, I haven't gone back and checked my dates and exactly, but if you say it is, it's probably right. That's the
as old
first
as I can find. Yeah.
What's the first track you said was?
Oh, it's Dave. It's a 3-track EP. It's called, there's Urge to Rap, Every Time, and Stairway to Heaven.
So I was collabing with someone. Shouts out to what's his name? Phantom. It was Phantom Overture, but he's now Solemn Grace on SoundCloud. He's making beats still, I'm pretty sure, and his name's David as well. And we were just collabing for a little bit, but we never got anything off the ground. Urge to Rap was the only song we really made together, and we were trying to make more, and then we just lost touch. So shouts out to him if you hear this. It'd be nice to hear from you again. But anyway, we made that song, and then that kind of sprung together the SoundCloud start. But it really got together, if you want to bring in my start to rap, is when I went to Toronto and recorded 3 songs in a studio condo with my brother's friend's producer and his engineer friend. And they were just guiding me through recording these songs. And
This was in 2016 as well, roughly?
Well, I think it was fairly after. It might have been a year or two.
Okay.
It was prior to whenever I released Burn It Down and Keep It Simple, because those were 2 of the 3 singles I recorded then, and it really brought my career and my drive and my dream and my motivation, everything about music, to a point where I was like, this is serious, I can do this. Because I was in a studio condo with people that were that do music for a living. And not only were they African American and had that influence and be able to give me an insight into that kind of culture, but they also had connections and had experience with top A-shelf people. And it's just, it was such a blessing. And I got back and I felt like I had to release Keep It Simple and Burn It Down. But not only that, I had to record. So I just started recording, put out songs like Again and Again, put out songs like Gargoyle, and just kept going. And it's been a well-deserved and rewarding uphill battle ever since. So
interesting, man. My timeline's a little messed up here because I got Gargoyle in 2018, but I got Keep It Simple and Burn It Down in 2019.
Yeah, see, so like Gargoyle was before that, but yeah,
Double Dose Volume 1 and Double Dose Volume 2.
Okay, so that was one of my. I got the timeline mixed up. But yeah, you caught me. But there were songs after, like Again and Again, and I can't remember. But yeah, some other ones.
On your the Dark Days LP, sorry.
There was ones that I remastered from back when I put out, and I put them on the Dark Days LP. That's my most recent gatherings of everything in my whole career, up new and old and everything in between. So yeah,
interesting. So you just kind of brought it together as a project.
Yeah, it was a long time coming. It was originally a 9-track album, and then I added a couple, and then I removed a couple, and then I just ended up being what it is now.
Yeah, that's how it happens. Let's go back to the Dave EP though. Is that just because you got into that collaboration that you kind of yourself started putting out music?
Yeah, it wasn't really much of an official EP. It was just kind of my test at SoundCloud. Really, I was like, "Oh, SoundCloud's here.
Fair.
I gotta put something on it. Be someone who actually makes music." So it was really just to start.
Just kind of launch yourself.
Yeah. if we want to talk introductory EPs, the Bagels EP would be my introductory. What I think is
The
my
Bagels
first.
EP, and that's
Yeah,
from last year, right? Oh no, that's
yeah,
from
it's my.
earlier this year.
Yeah, like I really put a lot of work into making sure that was polished and it was like above level of everything else before it. So
Damn, dude. I want to talk about like maybe some significant changes that you've had in your career, because you actually do have a lot of content and a lot of variety, and you brush across a
thanks.
lot of subjects. And there is there it does seem to be a point of like transition where you go from let's say some of the content of Just Dave, the freestyle mixtape, where in that you do talk a lot about your struggles with anxiety and just notes on
Yeah.
previous, and the focusing, just kind of like focusing on trouble. And you use this this metaphor a little bit, but the monkey
You
in
caught
general.
it. You
Yeah,
caught the monkey.
you
I'm
caught the
glad you caught.
monkey.
I'm glad. So the monkey, if you haven't caught what it is, it's the amygdala in your brain, which is your monkey
Oh,
mind.
it was a literal sorry, an analogy then.
Yeah, I guess it's sometimes in a metaphor mixed with it, but I use it to make metaphors.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you interested more in
interesting.
about that? What do you want to hear
Oh
more
yeah,
about
hell
that?
yeah.
Or?
Let's talk about it. Just because I see the theme come up a lot in your previous stuff, and then there's
Yeah.
there's kind of a point where you just like reference it, and then not to say that you drop it, but you just like you reference it more vaguely.
Yeah, it makes me happy that you caught it because it's an intentional repetition that I
Yeah,
can't help myself but put into most of my songs because I find myself really putting my monkey on a leash in per se, and then a lot of different analogies using
for
that term
sure. So
just to get my
by the
anxiety under
amygdala,
wraps.
yeah,
Yeah,
by the
by
amygdala,
the
the reference. What do you mean?
so like that's like the monkey mind. It's the part of the brain that tells you to go like worry. It's the part of the brain that we have had for our entire existence on this earth, but we haven't needed it really for the past, I don't know, give or take couple hundred years. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, it's really not needed in certain
But it's
societies
rooted into our
mostly,
DNA.
but it's rooted in there. So we have all this like anxiety when really we just need to like understand that it's part of us, and it's actually designed so we know what to do when a tiger is approaching. But we're in a world where we don't have any threats really. So I really just got to a point where I just found the power in recognizing that, and I put it into words and put it into the song, and it became something that every time I wrote a song about it, I learned something new about it. So I just kept doing it, and it became something that I could relate with, and it became a really big theme in the Bagels EP. Is I actually put the monkey on the cover. So
That's dope.
yeah,
Oh, I didn't even notice that, to be honest. I was busy looking at the bagels.
a little Easter egg.
That's
Yeah, the
hilarious,
bagels are
dude.
jamming out.
Bagels are jamming. That's dope, dude. Even let's talk about. I guess we're not even going chronological order here. We don't, whatever. We'll jump around. Let's talk about in the Bagels EP, your Worth It track, the music video there.
Yeah, so the music video came together because I was just trying to find something that was worth it for me, but not necessarily worth it to other people. Because that's the whole
Yeah,
term of the song is that like I go 10 minutes and 10 minutes there and 10 minutes back to town just to get the mail, and it might not be worth it for other people because
but it's worth it to you.
because you have to get in the car and get it all ready, and it's not, but it's worth it to me because I got to get the mail and I got to pick up packages and stuff. So like it's necessary. And the video is me like vacuuming an
And jamming
apartment.
out.
I was jamming out. Like I was getting paid to do that, like a week and then a week off and then a week, and I got paid. So it was like worth it to me. It may not be worth it to other people, but so I was just that was the main concept. Very simple. Ties back to keep it simple. I always like to keep that as a main trend. Keep it simple. I have shirts, posters, all that kind of stuff, just to remind as a main theme for myself.
That reminder to keep it simple. I like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's kind of like the takeaway from the monkey mind is if you do keep it simple, you don't let your monkey mind get the best of
Yeah,
you.
put a leash on it, or it'll push a leash on
Put
you,
a
man.
leash
Like,
on it. What was the defining moment where you kind of, I don't know, is it like a realization that happens where you're like, ah, fuck, I got all these
well,
things I'm just kind of worrying about, or
yeah, it comes back to that realization that's really important. Is that if you actually recognize it and do something about it, then you become the one in power. So if you want to get back to the earlier tracks, like those first EPs, you said we're talking about all my anxiety. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly what I was doing lots with all those songs. Was a big, just kind of not even realizing what I was doing, just kind of knowing that it was helping, and just kind of just really writing the words down, making songs, and then rehearsing them. And I was just doing all those songs that you heard and more that no one's ever heard ever, like in my garage, for no one. And my mom would walk in, and I'd be like, I would stop completely, because I would I couldn't even do it in front of my mom. And now I can. But like, it was just that time when I was just trying to handle my anxiety and just be free and imagine that I was in front of a crowd, and like, it really felt good. So I was doing that a lot. And then I eventually got the courage and the motivation from my friends that were producers and stuff to get it recorded and make that stuff on SoundCloud. That's what you're hearing, is just that venting, a pure kind of just me handling my thoughts and looking into a mirror for the first time in my life. Like,
and that's what it sounds like, dude. It almost, it sounds like you're freestyling, but it also sounds like a bit like poetry, like you're writing down and following through a story. Are you playing on kind of like both in your writing scheme?
Well, if you talk about poetry, I've been a poet my whole life. If you're talking about like the other aspects, it's what you said and more. It's all that.
That's what I'm seeing, kind of, especially when we go back to these bars, which are kind of more about those anxious times. It does seem like you have more of like a freestyle rhythm and a flow to it.
Yeah, I consider all my freestyles, like I can freestyle, which some people think is what off the top of the dome means, but off the top of the dome is off the top of the dome. If you listen to any of the old rappers, just that's what I'll say and that's what they say, so I listen to that. And it's freestyle is your style. It can be written, it can be improvised, it can be dance, it can be building something. That's a freestyle. You're in your style, you're in your zone. So my freestyle is written usually. So, but if someone wants me to freestyle like they call it, because they call it off the top, then I can do that. But that's not my main choice. I usually just off the top onto the page, because I just can't let it go. Like I feel like it's got to be captured.
Interesting. But when it comes to it, like if you're put to it, you could just go off the top.
Yeah, I could write a song in like 20 minutes because I would just freestyle it onto the page. I'll pull over when I'm driving to town to write like 16 bars and just hit by inspiration and be late for an appointment because I just can't get these bars up. So I got to get these bars down. Like,
oh, holy crap. So, is it actually like that?
Yeah, straight up. Like I've done that like more times than I can count on one hand. I've pulled over and wrote bars and just sat there because I couldn't let the zone go. Like,
you know what's crazy is that in my life, because I've been a writer as well, and in my life I've done the exact opposite, where I'm hit by this inspiration and I come up with a sick bar in my mind, and then I'm just like, nah, it's all good. I'll come up with I'll come up with another one later.
Oh no! And then it never happens. I remember every time I do that, 2-3 weeks it never happens. No, yeah. They go through the cycles and they refine themselves in your head. But if you don't take the time to write them down, you're not really practicing a muscle that you need to have to thrive in a rap game. So
that's true.
That's what I think.
And I like how you said it. Like it is just writing down, kind of like your thoughts, feelings, emotions, whatever that anxiety is driving you to write back in this time, and then writing it down is what helped you out. And then as you wrote more about it, you learned more about it.
Exactly. So
it's kind of like knowledge that's coming from you for you in a weird fucking weird
for sure sense. Yeah, you're letting that divine channel, whatever you want to call it, go through you onto the page and out into the world for your ears to hear or anyone else's, and then it does good rather than you saying, oh, I can do that later, and then it doesn't. Even in the moment you say it, you're letting that monkey put a leash on you, say, no, we got to do this. When really you can do whatever you want. Yeah, that's what happened. You got to recognize when that happens and not beat yourself up for it and just take it off. Like it's really not that hard.
That's the truth, man. And maybe I think that's one of the big issues is we're too ashamed to admit that the monkey's got the leash on us. And when all it does to get it off is acknowledge it.
Exactly. That's what I've been practicing with the raps.
And that's the thing is it does take practice.
That and the rhymes. I just love rhyming. So I just combo the two and it's a happy world for me.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. Well, we're approaching that 20-minute mark, so we're gonna take a quick break
Yeah, I
here.
get it. Yeah.
Oh, all right, let's do that. We're gonna listen to a track by Just Dave. This one is titled Inevitable. Enjoy.
Just Dave, 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 Dave.
Just wanna write new shit, but have no time. Been too busy fighting to get my brain open and keep my tongue loosened. Can't decide which I love more, just be too fun choosing. I just wanna justify the justice in rhyme, but the dude telling me to say that be only one type of guy. I pass self who unjustly tried to joust against what's right with too much fog in his eyes. Just beating himself up raw with a big log taped up onto his arm. Who knew the chains on the other one weren't even logged? All they needed was a little wit mixed with spit to come off. Can our skin be as thin as our skulls? Would what I do be wise if what I said wasn't as well? How easy is it to win if and when you fall to feel full? Some things are inevitable. Some things are inevitable. Yeah, some things are inevitable. Some things are inevitable.
Yeah, some things are inevitable.
Some things are inevitable. Yeah, some things are
Inevitable. Yeah, some things are inevitable. And me, being me is the one thing I know to be true. Yeah, some things are inevitable. Some things. Some things.
Some things are inevitable.
And me being me is the one thing
I know to be true. What can anyone but you tell you about what truth tells of what you do? What can any one man tell a crowd of people about who should be in charge and who's really a fool? What kind of vibes gotta be present for things to be cool? I'm not asking, just testing the waters of the pool for any piranhas at the bottom, disguised as a tie and a suit with pride, sipping nice booze. I'll infest your eardrums, just like some lice on a poodle. Straight out the chest of one who as a kid could impress with just a doodle. Not many slurp noodles, I'm part of the few that will. Spitting somewhat sporadic, but I assure you still there be no skew to my skill. Settling for nothing less than doing what's due end uphill. Until I've said I'm ill, some things are inevitable. Some things are inevitable. Some things are inevitable.
Some things are inevitable.
Some things are inevitable. Some things are
Inevitable.
yeah, some things are inevitable. And me, being me is the one thing I know to be true.
Just Dave, Dave, Dave. Some things are inevitable. Some things, some things, some things, some things, some things.
It's gonna happen. What I'm trying to manifest, what I'm attracting. It's bound to happen. Something to spare from what I'm stacking.
What is good, everyone? I'm back with Just Dave. How you doing, Just Dave?
Oh, I'm doing very well.
Oh, hell yeah. And before we let off, and I forgot about this reference, but before we let off, we were talking about, or we at least touched on how the words that you write, sometimes it comes from the place that it comes from. It's almost like a divine place, right?
Oh yeah, I grew up in a church community. As I said, my parents worked with Mennonite Central Committee. It's got religious backgrounds, and that's my background. I was raised in that. It's not what people think. It's not like an old school Mennonite church. It's Zoar Mennonite Church in Langham's much adapted to the modern ways of doing things, and it's just about healthy living and positive community, positive communication, and just loving ourselves and each other, and personal freedom and independence and choice, and not being forced into a lane because someone told you to. It's all really about individual kind of healthy living, but also the community aspect as well is very strong. And I grew up knowing that because it was the church gatherings and the family aspect. Like I have a big family for one thing. If we want to get off to that, like I have a very big family, and lots of them are religious as well. So it became something that was very influential. So when it became the time of my music, growing up hearing church songs all the time and being in a choir in my grade 11, 12 years and after and post-secondary as well, I just couldn't help but being influenced by some divine source that I take pride in saying that yeah, it gives me the drive that I'm looking for when at the end of the day, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. So do you go by Just Dave the One, or is that a previous alias?
Well, recently I'm hopefully maybe transitioning into just a kind of like classic Just Dave the One, because I've seen some other Just Daves out there. Even Dave itself, I've seen doing very well on Spotify. So like I've kind of just wanted to brand myself as the acronym Just Dave, but being the one, myself. I don't want it to be individual. So I have a recent logo change that I'm very happy with the decision to do that. I had a very consistent logo for a while, my Just Dave, that it was hand drawn, and I redrew a new one that is up on my page now, on my cover, and soon to get more art made with it. But it's an acronym for Judge No One, Unify Yourself, Speak Honestly, Try Always, Do Good, Ask Anything, Value Life, and Embark Bravely. I have a rap as well that goes well to it. It's a little bit of an extension.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's a personal motto. So like, it started with that when I found out that I had this poetic talent, freestyling with friends. I thought that I needed a rap name, and this came to me in some dark times, and developed into that acronym that I use every day in all my performance and personal self-talk to keep myself going. Like sometimes I tell my mom or like my friends, like, don't ask questions, and they're like, well, what about ask anything? And I'm like, okay, you're right, thanks for reminding me. So it's a really good, it holds me humble. It's good.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like on the surface it's a really simple name as well, and then just deep down it's got so much meaning, especially to yourself.
Yeah, so like I'm not just Dave. I'm just Dave. It's all in one. It's an acronym. It's a personal motto that anyone can relate to.
That's why it's all caps, no spaces.
Yeah, that's where that came from too. Was kind of an emphasis on that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Interesting. And see, the reason I was coming onto the one part as well is because that seems like it has some sort of like spiritual or some sort of ties to something of the such.
What are you saying has the spiritual ties?
The one part of your name, being Just Dave the One.
Oh, I never actually made that connection myself. I'm surprised you made that. That's interesting.
The reason I was drawing that also as well is because one of your tracks from 2017 you titled it's a Bible verse title, Luke 11:28.
Oh yeah, that was a very powerful track. It was my first all original track. I made the beat for that and everything.
Oh, really?
Spent nights in and out, like overnight, like through to the sun, kind of making that beat. Man. Like
the intro was really cool.
It's kind of the reason I don't make beats. That song is kind of the reason I don't make beats for myself.
Really?
I remember
it was different
toiling.
For sure, but I thought it worked.
I love it, but I just remember toiling so long on the beat, and I was like, I can't do this for every beat. I already do this for every song on the lyrics, so like I can't be. I would be losing too much sleep, so I kind of put that aside. I do a little bit of beat producing here and there, but yeah, that's
hilarious. How about the message in it though? Blessed are the ones who hear the word of God and obey it. Is that super important to you at the time? Is that important to you now?
It was painted in my home church. It's now demolished and a new one got built, but it was painted right above the the pulpit where the pastor would preach, and there was choirs, and there was a singing song leader, the piano. So like I'm sitting in the benches every Sunday seeing this. Blessed are the ones who hear the word of God and obey it, Luke 11:28, and it's just staring me in the face every day. And it got to a point where it really, like, I don't even need to like say like the whole like context of it, but it really got to a point where it made a really difference in my life, remembering that, and it just moved me to a point where I had to make that song, if nothing else. So, and yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, because that was a really powerful moment of my life, and like I think it was a big milestone. If at the time I never thought of it really as one, but. Yeah,
but looking back now, it's easy to see. That's really
interesting. Much bigger. Yeah.
Was it like a super detrimental part in your life, or just because sometimes it was just a point you needed a reminder?
Looking back, I have a song written that explains how I don't think anything's detrimental. We have to go through everything we go through to get where we are. Agreed. So I'm glad that we went through it, but it was a point that was I would consider a low. It was a dark time. It was a time where I didn't have very much belief in myself, and maybe not for good reason, but it felt like I didn't, So it was it was just a dark time, and I felt like I had to do something other than wallow in it. And a song come out of it, so it was good.
Oh, fair. Well, moving on to another a bar I picked out, and I don't know if this is grabbing it out of context. Excuse me if it is, but
I love you picking out bars. This is great.
Well, it's curious, man, especially for someone who kind of, because like obviously you were in the way that you write, you're writing about stuff that, like you said, it's all internal. It's all stuff on the inside that you're just trying to get out.
Yeah, but at face value, it's all me writing to an old self or some old, it's just my reflection. That's not that me, just telling them to go away.
Yeah, so. Fair. Interesting. Well, in I don't know, it's titled 48 Bars, No Excuses. You've got a music video for it on YouTube. One of the bars from it, and if I'm pulling this out of context, but you say I'm a Buddhist, is that like is that still a thing?
So I believe we're all Buddhists, because if we, to be a Buddhist doesn't mean you study Buddhism. It means that you try to be one with yourself. You try to be centered. That's what Buddhism is about. You don't have to be to practice Buddhism to be a Buddhist. So it was really just about that, and kind of the whole song was a challenge to rhyme with excuses as many times as I could in 48 bars. That's what it was. But it was also a challenge to like, okay, well, I'm not only doing this, I'm really owning up to things that I've been writing down as excuses in my head for a long time. So, if I'm a Buddhist, I need to not stop making excuses about why I'm not, doing all these other things. So.
But that was one of the parallels I drew to your name, The One. I was like, is that also a play on it? It was really interesting to me.
I'm glad you pointed it out, because it's really good. It's something I never realized, but now that you made the connection, I'm not gonna stop thinking about it probably for a little bit.
Maybe it's like you said, you don't see him as detrimental. You don't see previous history as turmoil. Now you see.
I did at the time that I experienced them, and I recognized that.
But the person who you are now, who's able to reflect on it.
Yeah, in order to move forward, I have to recognize that that's the truth, is that I can overcome it.
That's interesting.
I'm glad you've made the connections that I've been trying to get through my music, and you've been able to point them out. It gives affirmation to me, and more above all the interview aspect, it gives affirmation to me, so I thank you.
And honestly, that's kind of what these questions are designed for, like, especially because I've listened to most of your music, if not all of it. I tried to get through as much as I can, where I could find it. Dude,
that's humbling.
Well, it's how you really get to know someone a little bit, not more than they know themselves, but from a different perspective than they know themselves, because
you're hearing to like people that have listened to like all my music, or like close to all my music. So like it's just nice to hear someone of your sister stature to say that they've done that. So it's good.
Well then, so we were in about 2018 with the. This is kind of the era where you met the boys I'm assuming you roll with now. In your group in your group Definitive Collective, because I see you doing some work with Rainbow Glory in 2019 here.
Yeah, so like early 2019, prior to meeting them, I guess I if I released a freestyle mixtape, then yeah, I don't know my own order of the songs. I kind of just been creating.
Yeah.
So the Just Dave freestyle mixtape EP was my first attempt at kind of a put all my material out album, and then quickly realized it, not just because it didn't get traction, but I wasn't like as excited for it as I thought I would be, because I didn't put as much effort into it. But it was just kind of just a slap it on SoundCloud kind of project that it kind of sparked the seed for Dark Days Behind Me. And I don't know when I thought of it, but I can admit that it had influence making that prior. So yeah, that's how that went.
Interesting. So essentially, they're both collections of your previous work, but Dark Days Behind Me is the more like kind of
polished,
the way you wanted to do it.
Yeah, the way I wanted to do it too. That's a good way to put it.
That's dope. Okay. And then in between that, you've got a few singles, a whole bunch of singles actually. You put a fuck ton of music, dude. That's crazy.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, of course. How'd you meet Rainbow Glory? Actually, I think I heard this story through him, but let's hear it from your perspective.
I'm very glad that he could get the interview opportunity as well, and how I met him was quite serendipitous indeed, because if I had chosen to go to the open mic that I was going to go at a week earlier, I would never have met him. And what happened was I was going to go a week earlier than I did, but I was only 99% sure. I felt it in my bones, 99% sure that I should go. I got to be that 100%. So I waited a week. I waited a week. I felt it. And I was like, I waited a week. Next week, go there. I'm sitting there drinking a beer, chatting with some acquaintance, barely know the guy. And Steve comes up and he's talking to the guy across from me. I don't even know who he is yet. And all of a sudden, I'm not even paying attention because I'm super hyped. Like, I'm sitting there, like, ready to go. I'm thinking I'm up in, like, 2 people, because that's what the guy's telling me. The guy's telling me I'm up in, like, 2 people, when really I didn't get to play it till the end of the night. So, like, I'm sitting there, like, just, like, ready to go. First debut performance, and Steve says, hey, what's up? I'm, like... I don't even remember what he said. He says he introduced himself as the chosen one 1 million, but I remember it was like
I think that was what he
Steve
said.
or something. And and I was like, yo, what's up? I'm just Dave, the one. And I remember that was pretty iconic, because I usually don't say the one. I was just really confident in the moment that time, because I was just going by just Dave. That was it. That the one was kind of an added thing. but then
just spark of the moment.
He once we met, like, it was just kind of like, okay, he's super hyped, I'm super hyped. Once we saw each other rap, we were even more hyped. We just, hit it off and became good friends. He was saying stuff like, oh, the guy says if we can get up, then we should share the stage, because if we don't, then only one of us can get up. I was like, well, yeah, sure, man, that's what I would say. Fuck, let's go together. Let's get up there. And so I agreed, and we, lo and behold, we got to the end of the night, had our chance. He saw it as a battle. I really never saw it. I really never saw it as such, because he said after that. But to me, it wasn't. When he got after, he was telling me it was a battle, and then during it, he kind of gave me that vibe. But I really just was so humbled that I not only got to have a debut performance, but I got to perform against this dude that I really thought was like the best freestyler I've ever met. Like, he freestyle. I went out after I met him. He went out to a smoke, and I just went out to go hang, because I don't smoke cigarettes. And he was chilling there, and I was rapping and he was rapping, and it was just like, wow, you can do that, and I can do this. And he was saying the same thing about me, and we just kind of just recognized each other's talent. And I really think he's one of the best freestylers I've ever met. He said that he switched from chemical engineering all the way over to art. Like, this is what he said when I met him, and I believed him, because the way he said he did it showed in his skill, like rapping constantly all day for 5 years straight every day. And then he shows me his style, and it's like, he just doesn't stop. And then later, like, when we're hanging out as friends, getting to know each other, it literally doesn't stop for like 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it be.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
It's really cool. So yeah, at the time I met him, we were on stage, and it just all went so well. Like, the night was just like much better than I could have ever imagined, and we just kept meeting and doing music together ever since. So
That's dope, man. And I love you talking about that moment, like where you just kind of like even met outside in the smoke pit and just had like a sesh like that, because that brings back like memories, like vivid memories that I have of like, because you don't get back moments like that, you know?
yeah, no, it's pretty iconic. Like I'll never forget
Yeah,
that for sure.
iconic for sure, for sure. And then you guys went on to identify yourselves as a group with Mibu Beats and Bone Crate Beats.
Yeah, so like they were both kind of beat different genres of the same spectrum of making beats, and I had become friends with Donovan, aka Bone Crate, prior to meeting Steve, and I don't think he could have been there that night that I was there for the open mic, but he ended up connecting with Steve apart from me because they became knowing of each other's talents and they wanted to hang. So then since they hang out and I was hanging out with Steve and I was hanging out with Donnie, we kind of just decided, well, let's all hang out together. And then it just boom, that was it, it just took off, and eventually we came up with the name, so it was good.
The Definitive Collective. Yeah, that's dope. And then you guys casually put out this video series on YouTube as well, which led up to a finale with you guys doing
that was all Rainbow Glory. I have to give him props for that, because
for the video series?
In the beginning I really had doubts that this was ever going to be something we could do, because I wanted to put so much work into being polished. I wanted to just like, hey, we got to make sure this is done right. Like we can't be just like, but it really, it's the first project, right? It's a pilot series, right? You just gotta do it, and he showed me that by just doing it himself, and I'm really grateful, because it's really good content.
And then you get to see what comes from it and how it evolves.
Yeah, for sure. It can be chopped and into mini clips and used for music videos, or just little clips, promo here and there, for inevitably, like you can.
Yeah. One other project that you did with Rainbow Glory here, and with an artist called Torn It Up, the Blue Adults EP.
Oh, that is such a low-key project, and I'm glad you brought it up, because it's one of my favorites. But Torn does. I don't think Torn's as fond of it, because he likes things to be polished and high quality. But it was just like we were at the Broadway Bridge, and we were just like, let's record music. I'll bring my laptop. You bring a guitar. Steve says I'll rap, and you rap too, and then boom, play the beats. Boom. So we literally just had like no camera. I don't think we might have had a camera. I don't know, but I had my laptop, a little average $100 mic, no gear at all, just basic stuff. Torrin had his guitar. I would play a beat, and then I don't think he even played a beat. No, I just recorded. No beats. That was the whole thing. It was all a cappella, just straight on location, kind of raw, and just I put all the work into making it that, and I love it. It was a big experimental project, and I love the cover art. It's just every time I think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I love that. I wish that got more exposure, because no one really talks about it.
Well, even the story behind it, again, it's one of those moments that are just like iconic again.
People were walking by and just honking. People were driving by and honking, and people were walking by and doing triple takes, and people were just loving it. It was such a great night. I remember it so well, just being this kind of just off the cuff, kind of just let's do this kind of thing.
For sure. Sounds like so much fun too. And then we got your most recent release here as well, a track titled Inevitable that you released on November 27th.
Yeah, along with Storyteller from my Dark Days
from the Dark
LP.
Days Behind Me.
I decided to put those two on Spotify because I themed the art together, and they were just kind of on the same album, and wanted to do that. So I have a video coming up that I'm working on that's really cut above everything else. I'm really happy to talk about it. It's just to say that it's happening. It's just inevitable. The music video is going to be coming out very soon. So
you know when it drops?
Yeah. I haven't decided a date yet because I haven't even finished it yet. So I have to.
It's soon enough. So
soon enough. Yeah.
We are heading into a little bit of overtime here. Is there anything you want to say to, or any topics you want to touch on? Just as kind of the sign off for anyone who's listening.
Just Dave, the one. I'm not the only one though. You can be it too. Just listen to yourself.
That's what it is.
Don't listen to the monkey.
Don't listen to the monkey. Don't let the monkey leash you. And if he does, just take it off.
Yeah, man. That's it. Keep it simple. Just Dave signing off.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Just Dave.
I really appreciate it so much, Jordan. Thank you.
Yeah. You take care, eh?
Yeah, you take care too.
All right. Peace out, brother.
Peace.
Thank you everyone for joining us for this interview with Just Dave. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to learn a little bit more about him and connect on his socials, head on down to www.reevolvemedia.com/JustDave. And up here we've got another track by him. This one's titled Pandemic. I hope you enjoy and take care.
Just Dave. A chance to win, a chance to plan instead of bitch, a chance to ditch any plans to ditch pantless from this and bitch. I'd hate to believe and list reasons to be doing so instead. They're teasing the idea of seeing the face of death. Don't think for a second because he supplies the weed that you and him are friends. I think we need more than them. All this needs honesty instead of a trend. All perspective needs is 180 degrees to switch around from the end to a new future worth living. Remember this then, more than all this, do I promise if and when it all works out, no doubt. Confide like I am in confidence. Run fast, it's a pandemic. No one's last, just the last one's hit. This one will pass, that's not the sitch. Running fast and quick. Run fast in a pandemic. Not to take advantage of it, but to share what I make and the vantage from it is why I create this, why I crave the taste to spit, why I take the time to chase down the mix in my brain till it's me. Some will chase waves of it to the grave for a hint of what just only may be, and not the whole cake plus the gravy. Two metaphors you never thought would be put together, but I'm just Dave. See what I say, be what I pray for, come to be when I stay more grounded than a bunch of leaves found in the backyard of this one who speaks in rhyme for fun, only by the sound of no hands. Lonely in the crowd, going ham for me and loud. Will you see when the rhymes are done? Not stopping cause I know it, just gotta prove I'm the sublimest one. So run fast, it's a pandemic. No one's last, just the last one's hit. This one will pass, that's not the sitch. Running facts and quick, run fast, so run fast in a pandemic. Run fast. 1, 2, 3, run fast. Just Dave. Run fast, it's a pandemic.